May the words of my mouth and the meditations of all our hearts be always acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, our strength and our Redeemer. Amen. The temptation of the rabbit hole. If there has ever been a time for us to focus on following the path that leads to life, then that time is now. God speaks to the people of Israel. See, I have set before you today life and prosperity, death and adversity. I have set before you life and death, blessings and curses. Every day of our living, we have choices to make. Yet we are continually bombarded with devastating news that would derail us on our path. There is so much going on right now that it really is a miracle that we are not all falling apart with despair. So please, continue to seek and find that inner peace that comes from our loving and caring God. Of course, we continue to live with the COVID. The war in Ukraine and the utter devastation and senseless killing brought to us live every day for the past year now. The mudslides in South America and flooding. Now the earthquakes in Turkey and Syria as we watch on our TVs the collapsing buildings and the rubbles and loss of life that is left in its wake. Even Hamilton felt the tremor from the so-called mild earthquake in Buffalo. The tragic and senseless act of a man who just decides to drive the bus that he has been driving for the past 10 years without incident at full speed directly into a daycare where 2 4-year-old children are killed and many others are hurt. A community in Laval, Quebec, totally devastated and confused. Shall I go on? I don't think so. You get the point. So let us lift them all up in prayer to Jesus, our great healer of body, mind, and soul. You know, it would be so easy for us to forget where we are and where we are going on our own personal family and community journey and just go down the rabbit hole of despair. Believe me, it is a fight every day not to go there. Things might also be happening in our own lives that make us just want to stay in bed for the whole day, right? The stresses of life are crowding us in on every side, and we wonder how we are going to survive. Well, first, when the bad happens, we must rally our defenses and get back up after we have been knocked off of our feet. And we do not do it alone. Just as the people rallied in Quebec, in that small community of Laval, to come running to the aid of those in trouble, we too must band together and face whatever crisis is facing us. And just as those who were safe from the earthquake came running to assist those who were trapped or injured, we too run to those who need our help. As the Prime Minister has said time and time again, we come together, we stand with each other, and we help each other out. You know, we must never get tired of hearing that message, because that is what we must do in order to carry on and to survive. You know, I don't often watch the NFL awards ceremony. The games, yes. The ceremonies, no. But last night, I watched at the end of the program to see who would be honored with the Walter Payton Humanitarian Award. This award is given to the player who best exemplifies humanitarian activity and caring in the community in which they live. One player from each of the 32 teams of the NFL are nominated. This year's recipient was Dak Preston, the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. He engages with the community both financially and in person by assisting those in need and visiting those who would be uplifted by a visit from him in hospitals, schools, and the like. He established the Faith, Fight, Finish Foundation in honor of his mother who died of cancer, but taught him what it means to fight, and his brother who committed suicide during the pandemic. His mission is to make sure that no one has to stand alone to face their issues, but have the support they need to journey on. What is the saying? Well, in this case, with great privileges comes great responsibility. We are all privileged in our own way, so let us indeed help others. Let us never give up. Let us finish the fight and keep the faith while dealing with the struggle. You know, God also tells the people of Israel in the reading from Deuteronomy today to choose life so that they and their descendants may live. That means for us to choose the blessings and not the curses, to choose life and prosperity and not death or adversity. Of course, life is not always as simple as that. Life is not always either or, but is mostly gray, I found, and a little confusing on what path that we should take. Whatever the case, we are always admonished to love God and to love our neighbor. So if we start there, the rest will follow. Believe me. Let me say this next part with great emphasis. Depend upon the strength and the support of those who love you. Depend upon our God who loves us. Depend upon the love and support of our families. Yes, depend upon the love and support of our friends. And most importantly, be dependable. Let it be so that others can depend upon us. Let our support of others be our greatest strength. And as the Apostle Paul says, let us experience the support of our God through the strength of others, like Apollos and Paul. What Paul planted, Apollos watered, and God gives the growth. We grow in the choices we make on our journey of faith when we listen to and act upon the guidance of those who love us the most. They are the ones that God has sent into our lives in order for us to indeed choose life. When we feel like we are going down the rabbit hole, then reach out to others and accept the help of those who are reaching out to us. Seek out the help that we may need and never be embarrassed to ask for help, because believe me, we all need a little help from time to time, right? My friends, let us always wrestle with the struggle to choose the path that leads to life. Let us never give up, and let us continue to walk in God's way. Let me finish by quoting from the very famous poem by Robert Frost, which I learned way early in life in elementary school, called The Road Not Taken. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the road less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. What road will you take?